Now we are. Okay. All right. First, for those of you who didn't print it out because you don't have a printer or you ran out of ink or something, here's the agenda. So we all know sort of what we're going to talk about, okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to review the minutes of the last meeting, which was the 27th of July. Now, I have printed them out for everyone, but there are line numbers. So if there's something you want to change or modify or amplify, just reference the line number. So you don't have to say paragraph 4, line 6, just reference the line number. There you go. Oh, I gotta have one. Thank you. No, keep going, keep going.
Here.
I got it.
I wasn't here, so I'm not gonna look. I mean, I'm gonna have to.
I presume everybody read them in the interim and studied them carefully and looked them over thoughtfully. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the minutes? And can we do it just with by consensus rather than I'll make a motion and I'll second discussion and vote? Can we do it that way? Is that okay by, anybody got any problems? Okay. All right. Who wants to jump in first? Nothing? Yes, Kim.
I'll make a motion that we correct
Not
Carrie.
motion, just what?
Correct Carrie's name since it's spelled several different ways.
Right. Okay. And you find that on line 25, I guess it is?
20, and then 23, and then 24, and then 26.
And 26. I think it appears elsewhere, but we're not worried about that. I would like to list, add a sentence to the first paragraph that says, absent Michelle Small, excused, Andy Viel, excused, and Madeline Campbell, excused.
Makes sense.
I would like to add that we make Carrie present on line 9.
Was she there that night?
No.
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 No, she wasn't present.
So- Oh, okay, oh, right, sorry, yeah. That's when we voted, right?
Right. Yes.
Got it.
I would like to make a change for my email to you that Carrie was not replacing Al Dione, she was replacing her father, Carlton Spencer, because Kim replaced Al Dione
On line
previously.
18,
17 and 18, or 18, yeah.
and line 18, anywhere else?
Well, I didn't finish reading it, but I sent you an email on it. I think you just need to change Albert Dione to Carlton Spencer.
Right. The motion was passed by consensus, it was passed by unanimous vote on line 27. But we have an actual vote. Okay. Now, let's see anything on that page. Oh, the next one. On the town budget on line 33, I don't think Suzanne said it will absolutely. I think she said it might end up coming in.
Correct, we weren't yet sure.
Right. under the higher amount of, come in under the budget, under the higher amount, add two, under the higher amount of 230,000. So we can be sort of clarify what we mean by the budget. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I can give you my notes afterwards.
I have that recording, so I can go back.
You've got this?
I have the audio recording still.
Oh, well, okay. Let's see. On line 41, whether the person responsible could pay is should pay. Change that to should. There's an issue of liability there. On line 47, it's not Bernard, it's Pinard, P-E-N-A-R-D.
P.I.
P-I?
He's talking about Pinard.
Even I got it, okay, I got it.
Pinard Waste?
Pinard.
Sorry, I just woke up.
Hello.
Misspelled.
Good morning.
Got yourself a jumbo.
And
For that direction.
I think that's all I had. Oh, there was something. In water and sewer, just gotta find it. Water and sewer. Bear with me, I'm trying to compare two different things. A, B, C, D. That's fine. Well, okay, if I can't find it, then I guess it doesn't matter. In the school budget, Alan Robinson said there would. That was really past tense. This is line 107. If you could change the would to had been. This is past tense. An increase. Not, it wouldn't be in the future, it's already a done deal. That's all I have. Anybody else want to jump in?
Are we changing the words of the person who is speaking, or are we changing it to be proper grammar?
Well, it's
I mean,
like-
if he spoke that way, it should be that way in the writing.
Well-
I don't know what the words were, but if you're changing grammar because it, I don't
Well-
know, if you could, you should do that.
The sentence reads, Alan Robinson said there would be, which implies future tense, a $173,000 increase, when I think it was done in the past. He said,
As long as you're not changing the person who's speaking's words.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I don't think you should legally do that.
And he's not, I don't know.
I don't know, you
I don't
have
know
to
the rest of
listen
the
to the tape
sentence.
to see, but.
we couldn't hear us. Oh, that's right, you wouldn't hear.
I wasn't here, so.
Yeah.
That's my offer. Decline.
No, I actually believe he meant would be. The students that, for this budget year, we have more students than we budgeted for going to Marshwood. So I do believe he meant that there is indeed,
Well, this was July, so this would be the prior year.
Or was he talking about the upcoming year?
yeah, he was talking about the upcoming year. It had to, well, I don't know.
Why don't we leave it alone and just,
I would say probably best to leave it alone.
best to leave it alone. Okay. Is there anybody else who wants to make any changes, additions, corrections, or deletions? You had your chance. Okay, meeting schedule.
Should we vote to accept the minutes as amended?
Huh?
Should you vote to accept the meeting minutes as it's?
Okay. Having made various changes, the motion now is to accept the amended minutes as presented.
A second,
Huh?
a second.
Suzanne seconds. Is there any discussion? All right, I'll call for a vote. Those who wish to accept them as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Silence. They're passed. Okay. Now we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the meeting schedule. So I'm passing it out to you. No. The school has informed us of two changes, one that they want to make and one that they're going to make. First is the SB2 deliberative session for the school, which you will see way down near the bottom of your schedule. The main deliberative session was scheduled for February 4th, and that's when it's going to be. They just changed the snow date to not the next Saturday, as I thought, but till Tuesday following, assuming we get all the snow cleaned up and it's that bad. The other thing the school wishes to do is, they were originally scheduled to present on the 21st of December. And they say there's a conflict in their schedule. Now, they would like to do it on the 14th, which was previously set for the town and the highway. We must now defer to Suzanne to say, would you be willing to swap with the school?
We would absolutely be willing to swap with the school, and we would also like to do the capital improvement plan on that same time.
Okay, so you want to move SIP down to the 21st.
21st of November.
December.
2 days, 3 days, whatever, before Christmas.
4 days.
Per time.
You better have your shopping done, otherwise it's pointless. So, on the 7th, we're going to do cemetery, water and sewer, and recreation. Yes, I know they haven't put in a thing, but that's still going to list it. And then on the 14th, we're going to do school. And on the 21st, we're going to do highway, town, and SIP. Is that correct? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
Good. Yes.
I just wanted to note, the SB2 deliberative session that's either Saturday or the snow day is Tuesday. I suspect that the Tuesday one is in the evening though, should we have to
It
do
is.
it? Right?
It would be, I can tell you, the snow date would be at 7 PM. If indeed we had to go to the snow date. Thank you.
Yes.
And also, and this is the wrong time to bring it up, I'm sorry, but on the 16th for police, fire, and library, I will not.
16th of November?
Yes, I will not be here that day, and so Jody will be taking my place, and I assume that she's a full voting member, if she's there as the delegated appointment.
It says the member of the select board or their designee.
Okay, all right, so we have designated Jody for that evening.
What?
I'll be here for that meeting.
Why?
I'll be in Las
Never mind
Vegas.
it. We'll teleconference.
Okay.
Vern, will you send it updated?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I will post the updated. And I will let Tia know to remove the old one and put this back in its place, so that we don't have any people getting upset about not being notified. All right.
I'd like to, the school, on behalf of the school district, I'd like to thank the town for switching, because it's very important for us to have the superintendent and the business administrator here when we give that presentation, so that's very helpful. And I just have a question here on, these are out of order, so is this something that's coming up, this reminder email sent out for departmental presentations, or did that go out earlier?
No, that should be the 29th,
Oh, the 29th, all right, thank
not the
you.
19th.
Thank you, okay.
I can't yet do emails retroactive from time.
I was checking that, thank
Silly
you.
stuff. Okay. I will make the appropriate corrections, I will send them out to you, I will post them, I will ask Pia to post it, so that everybody will know. Okay,
Nice job on the schedule.
I'm sorry?
Nice job.
I copied from last year. Don't tell her. All right. Who wants to go first with their budget? Dennis?
All right, no problem. Very quick.
Huh? Yes, I sent it in an email. But if you want,
I don't have enough, so you might have to share it with you.
really, jeez.
What are you doing first, Dennis? Sewer or wastewater?
I have water in front of me first. I only got 2 pages. Everybody have this?
I do.
Whoever wants them.
There it is.
Starting with sewer or water, Dennis?
Water. First page. I'd like to say that right now we're 3/4 through, and we're at 64.4% for water. And I'm going to just give you an update of what we've been doing. We've installed a new well at General Sullivan, and now we're waiting for a trial permit from the New Hampshire DES to operate, and that's ongoing. Hopefully, by the first part of December, we'll have that well running, you know. But we're waiting for the state to give us a permit to run it. And I think we're gonna run it at about 150 gallons per minute. We could probably put 200 or so out, but they limit us to what we can run, you know. Do it, usually we run it at night, through the night, like from probably a 12-hour period, so whatever happens, you know, it's very complicated sometimes with that. And I think we've got all our permits from the surrounding people. We're just waiting for the
Dennis,
permit. I'm sorry,
Speak up.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking around. So anyways, is there any questions on our water?
I have a question. Are you actually filling the system now from the new well? Or
No.
are you using
We
the
use-
old
We're using
well?
the old well.
So you actually have 2 wells out there capable of
We
producing?
have 2 wells. Yeah. We run General Sullivan most of the time, and once or twice a week we go up and run 4,
Just to
just to run.
get the rust out?
Yeah, just to clean it up. So, yeah, we're still working on it, and hopefully we've got a couple of good months left.
Bill?
Yes.
You don't anticipate any other major expenditures? You're looking good for the rest of your year as far as? you
Yes,
can-
as far as water
as far
goes,
as you-
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Hopefully nothing breaks down, you know, I don't know. No. And in sewer, we're at 63.7%, and that's ongoing. And in sewer, we've upgraded our SCADA system, and we've got our foundry pump station on it now.
Can you explain what SCADA is?
It's a system, it's like it tells the operator, well, John, say John has an app on his phone, and if there's a problem with the SCADA system down at the pump station, it'll let him know right away, as before it would, you know, unless he'd come down, there'd be a problem. There's like, I'd say a problem like there's rags and things that get into it, into the pump, and it stops it. So everything starts backing up. I mentioned the muffin monster. I think Vern's familiar with that.
Oh, yes.
That has, that's a machine that has these teeth on it, and everything that comes in there just crushes it right up. You know, but it's about $50,000, $60,000, so. But they've had them. They have them in Portsmouth. They have more than we do. We're working on that fence surrounding the perimeter of the property. We've got a few sections left. And we just resurfaced the center of the oxidation ditch 2, which we'll be putting online probably in a couple of weeks. We rotate our ditches. We'll run one year, we'll take that offline and run the next one the next year, so that doesn't wear and tear. If we had a lot of customers, we probably have to run them both. But right now, we're at a level where we won't. But if we had to run them both, then you could expect a large increase in your sewer bills. So hopefully we won't. Okay, so, we removed the stub in the parking lot. We had a light pole there, and I don't know if anybody's, there was a stub there 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
You know where that stub was? That's gone. So now anybody that comes in there, like the town, they can plow right around and go right out. So that's good. That was a problem. And we built the wash press in the Headworks building, and that helps with all the debris coming in. That was getting plugged up, and that was old, so we finished that. And we're still working on cleaning and cammering our town sewer system. I don't know if you've noticed them around town, have you?
Certainly did.
Huh?
I
Yeah, they're
certainly
going
did.
through and, working on that, and things look good. And that's about it for now. Anything else? Any questions on sewer?
Well, I have a question. You're at 67, 63, 67% on your budget at 3/4 of the year, or
Yeah.
75% of the year, which means you anticipate ending the year with a bit of a surplus.
Hopefully.
And what are you going to do
Well,
with it?
we're not done with a few things yet. And what are we gonna do with it?
Yes, that surplus.
We'll probably get a warrant article and push it over and use it next year. That's how we usually do that. If there's any remaining balance, we can use it.
Are you going to put it into unreserved fund balance, or are you going to have a special project that you're going to put it in?
No, we're not doing it, we don't need to put it in a special project. It's gonna be in an unreserved balance. So we can draw from that. Hopefully, we won't have any, that keeps us from any sewer rate increases and things like that, so we know we have that money. And God, God forbid if something would happen, I hope not. Could be very costly, down the road. You know that as well. You never know-
Surprises can
you
come
never
from
know what's
anywhere.
coming down the pipe.
That's right.
And you should have a little money left to, for a rainy day. Any other questions? If you have any problems with your water, like me, Mr. Brown, give us a call, because we've been flushing dead end areas, because we can't flush everything with the water shortage, but we do, we're trying to keep it up.
So you're finished?
I am done. Anybody has any questions, I can.
Who wants to go next?
I'm happy to go.
Go.
So,
You got your cert.
Do you have copies?
oh, okay, sorry. Copies of the budget. There isn't one for everybody because last time they did a lot extra, so I think this is enough. And then here's sort of like the summary of important pieces. Please. So, in big picture, our expenses are within estimates. Our revenues are coming slightly ahead of anticipated amounts, so we're confident in the current budget status. And we're actually going to be looking over the next couple of weeks at opportunities, if they seem to make sense, to shift some costs that we anticipated in 2017 to 2016. For example, we have a proposal from an engineer to work on the drainage of this building as a result of the leak that happened in the police station. I can't remember if it already happened the last time we met or that it's in the interim, but there was a rain event and leakage, and the floor down there is really awful. And so we had a couple of contractors come in to look at it, and they both suggested you really should have an engineer come. So we did have an engineer come. And we have hired him to do about oh, we hired him to do $10,000 worth of his $17,000 proposal. But we just did a PO for the entire $17,000. So that $17,000 is the engineering part, which is about $7,000, and then the part where he's going to do the RFP for the work, and the part where he's going to supervise the RFP for the work. Now, the work may never happen, because that's going in as a warrant article in March. But if the warrant article passes to do the work along the outside, the perimeter, and inside, then we will be using 2016 money for his part of the RFP piece and the supervision of that particular work. So that's an example of one of the things that we should do.
Just be sure, you have a contract with 3 phases.
Yes.
Preliminary, RFP, and supervision. So it's
Yes.
one contract with 3 phases.
Yes, 3
And you're going
tasks.
to execute it in 2016.
The contract proposal, yes, we
Yeah.
talked to our CPA, and he said yes, that sort of PO could encumber the 2016 funds,
Right.
so.
Well, no, it's more than a purchase order. It's an actual, you're going to sign an actual
It's
contract.
both, yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah, correct, right.
gotcha.
So we're looking for other opportunities like that, when it seems to make sense. Particular expenditures, well, if you look at our report, we continue to do some of the revised budgets, so that our budgets for where we were going to spend the money. So there have been a couple of additional changes in that. Not as much as the last quarter, but we continue to do that. Our road maintenance, will have about another $12,000 to $13,000 in that line, and that's pretty much the last planned major expense of this line. Then that next paragraph is talking to you about the engineering work relative to town hall. And you'll also be seeing that we're going to be fixing the siding on town hall. That's a very small contract. But we've already been around to doing that, which is coming out of the maintenance line. And we had a resignation of our newest police officer while at the academy. And I said that Chief Ducharme was reworking his 2017 budget to reflect the resignation. He ended up thinking that they may have somebody in line to start the January academy. So, in other words, he wouldn't need to review the police budget. And we have in fact canceled our single stream recycling contract with Menard, and we have, the summary says that we will shortly be using Shipyard. That is, the transfer is taking place, transition. Shipyard hauling is now doing our single stream recycling with their cans. Menard came to get their cans, Shipyard is using theirs. It's on contract, however, Menard was contract, so the costs are, subject to change. If fuel prices go up, recycling continues to crater, anything could happen. But the Menard contract went up from about $400 a month to a little over $900 a month. And so now we're back down to less than what the Menard was originally, not by much, but somewhat less. So it's a good deal right now. We're hoping it's going to stay a good deal. And revenues, our motor vehicle revenues are up, our building permits are up. We did just recently sign the PNS, we did that Monday night for the property across the river in South Berwick. So sometime, I think in the month of November, we'll be closing both the Jesse Doe property for $10,000 and the South Berwick for $45,000. So that's kind of the big picture. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Suzanne, how much of the land over there that's Wallingford's property
Yes.
did Fogarty get? How much, do you know?
Yes, it's a little under 4 acres, and we sold, I just know this right on the tip of my finger.
Is it
Says half.
0.5 acres?
But yeah,
.5.
0.57, turned
Yes.
out to be 0.57. It was originally 0.56, and then when McEnany actually did the plot survey, it turned out to be 0.57. So we had to, you know, there are always these little surprises that are not anticipated. And at practically the 11th hour, his, Fogarty's title company or attorney found a lease arrangement with Seaward Construction. So it turns out that actually that company is, you know, across the years, with various changes in ownership or whatever, is now Enel, or the people who run the hydro. So they had already been, we had already contacted them, and they were absolutely fine with the piece of land that we were selling. It had no impact on their operation of the plant or on the project that is on file with the EPA. And so when we found out that there was still this kind of arrangement, they said, oh yeah, we'll clear that up. So that is going to be cleared up with them. They're going to release that part of the lease on that piece of land.
When Seward Construction was leasing from the town of Rollinsford?
There was some kind of an arrangement that said that they could, there was no cost associated with it, but it had to do with the operating license, and so that they.
Oh, the FERC license.
The FERC license, yes. So it got a little complicated because we had to make sure that none of this that was going on had an impact on the details of the FERC license. So there was a little bit of, you know, dancing around to make sure all of these things fell into place. And they have now fallen into place. We do expect to close in November. Enel, or the hydro folks, are happy. We think Larry Fogarty's happy. People in the town, nobody expressed any real dismay that we were selling that piece of property, so all things are go.
Okay. Bill?
And I don't want to get too far afield on this, but I have grave concerns about putting money into this building, and I wonder, are we still looking at other options where we're doing something other than continuing to sink money in here?
We are looking at one, you know, it's
I
hard
know.
for, I don't know,
Yeah.
what can we do?
I know.
We came to the town, we said, here's something we can do, and the town said,
Yeah.
sorry. So we
Yeah.
can't manufacture new space.
Right,
So there is something that we're looking at,
okay.
that's all I can say. There's something that we're looking at, but in the meantime, we can't
have to-
ignore
Right.
the situation that exists. If you're frustrated, I'm frustrated too. But that's this, you know, we can't manufacture something that doesn't exist.
And I might add also, because if, for example, we had broken windows, we couldn't say, well, we're not gonna fix the
I know.
windows because the building's a wreck anyway. You've gotta maintain it, and
And that's
maintaining
why-
that tower is
That's
something
why I
that's
prefaced that
critical.
with, I don't know that this is the proper mark, but I just wanted to, you know.
I'm trying to follow the engineering, Madeline.
Yes.
17,000 is for him to draw up the plan?
No, he has to do some site drawings and that, so it's about 5,000 to 7,000 for that part.
Okay,
Then there's the writing the RFP,
yep,
and then there's managing the project to make
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
So in the total, it was under 17, it's probably 16,300, 16,400.
and that'll cure it?
He says yes.
Okay, well, you know what, even if the town were to decide that this is a building we really should abandon and sell, it's gonna be a plus to have that straightened out, because you're not gonna be able to sell it knowing you've got something river underneath, so, you know,
So
it's money, well, it's
only a
deferred
brook.
maintenance.
It's not a river, it's a brook.
Yeah, there's something
Yeah,
bizarre.
so what he's designing is something around the perimeter, how the water sheds off the sides.
Yep,
And then we've got to clear out what's down there now because it's buckling and this and that. So it's outside, down the sides, and inside the,
Are they gonna take up the floor downstairs
Yes.
and put in the proper drains throughout?
yes.
Because I was gonna say, perimeter drains alone won't help you.
No, there are gonna be drains inside as well, or whatever he's doing inside.
And just hammer up the whole floor.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Because there's something about the layers that are there that really don't work. I don't remember, because it was a couple of months ago, and the board agrees entirely with what you're saying.
mhm,
At some point, either we're staying or we're not, but if we're trying to develop or sell this place, then having that big problem,
yeah, you can sell a house with water in your basement,
so.
Yes. Okay, very good. And it's all for 17,000, that's pretty good.
Not the work,
Oh, not the work?
not the work. So the work is gonna be, not the work. The work is gonna be a warrant article in March.
Right. And you're looking at what, like 80
Well,
plus thousand?
We had originally, this, if you look at your SIP, it's been on the SIP for a couple of years, I think, at 100,000. So in talking to Steve, I think he says, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Steve Hayes, Steve Hyde. He thinks that 80,000 will suffice, and that is the high side, so we could get lucky at 80,000. So we'll see what the town says. That's the work.
Nancy, go.
I'm starting on page 1 on the supplies. You don't anticipate any more supplies being purchased for town hall use? Because you're at 97%, I'm assuming you're,
I'm sorry, what line is this? Oh,
413-0505.
505.
Well, I'm still not in the right place, sorry. Okay, I'm at the right place now.
Okay,
No, there could be additional, I mean, it's, we're not worried about it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just not worried.
Yes, Kim, go.
IT hardware, software service, we budgeted 9,900. And you only have, and you reduced it, and it's only 33% expended. What were you anticipating when you budgeted that, and why is it
We
not
don't have,
expended?
we don't have the Google bill yet, the invoice comes in December.
That's what, 2,400? When did I see that? It's 20 users at 120,
Yep.
so it's 2,400, check my math and my decimal points.
Was there something in particular besides that you were expecting this last year that didn't happen?
That's a good question, let me go back and find the detail on which, if you don't mind giving me a minute or two to bring something up.
Use this time wisely.
We were looking at moving our domain into another area, and we have taken care of that without an expense. We were looking at needing to provide equipment for administrative support, we didn't need that. There's still some expenses they're gonna hit because we have monthly Comcast expenses, so that's there. So that, I guess that's part of it. And the Google, of course, the Google Apps, you know, it's, is depending on the number of subscribers, will be around, 2,000. We have some plans for increasing that in FY17. We've talked to the chair of the planning board. We think it's probably a good idea for the chair of the planning board to have an authorized email. So that will, it's $120 a pop, which isn't very much, but, so, it will grow in small amounts, the Google piece.
That's it?
For that one?
Yeah. Anyone else have any comments, questions? Go ahead.
What's the miscellaneous line item on page 2? And what does NA mean?
No.
Not applicable,
I know that.
or not available.
Why is it not overexpended instead of NA?
Well, it is, it's $1,520 overexpended. You can't take a percentage of it, and you can't divide by 0. That's just the
Well,
math.
no, it's undefined.
It's undefined.
So you wouldn't have like 110%?
It's undefined, it's not, that isn't it.
Can't define by 0. So, it's undefined. Well, the question is, I guess, to follow up on that,
So,
is you didn't
okay.
appropriate anything into it,
Correct.
but you've got some expenses in here.
Yes.
What was that? I'm
And I
sorry,
think
again?
we talked about once, 2 years ago, about how much I hate miscellaneous accounts because it's a trash account.
It is, yes. So we've continued that conversation. And so what some of these clear themselves out, but some of them are costs that we incur that, like bank fees, that we are reimbursed for, but we still have to pay the bank fee. So what we are planning for next year is a line, and we've talked to the DRA about this, that says reimbursable items or something like that. So when we have bank fees, or somebody hits a road sign and, they have to pay for it, but we also have to pay for it too. So we'll move the budgets around to the appropriate categories that will come from, we'll have a budget on that line and give reimbursable expenses and not miscellaneous.
Is it bank fee because of insufficient funds in an account or something, so you get, you're
Yeah,
getting
but-
charged and they're getting charged? Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Correct.
How come that's not any?
These numbers over here to divide it.
Oh, because it's not in-
Any other questions? Yes, just keep going.
Sorry, Nancy, do you have a question?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
What's happening with the town clerk information systems this year?
She got an accounting package that helps with dog licenses. That was the nature of that information system.
What's the, okay, so it was more than expected?
It included training.
I have nothing on that three. Nothing.
I did.
Yes,
Of course
keep
I
going,
did.
just jump in.
The heat and the highway,
Where are you, Kim?
page 3, third from the bottom.
Oh, the highway shed?
Yeah, highway shed. Can you, it's only half expended, and it's twice what well, actually, can you talk about that a little bit, why you increased that budget?
Well, it looked like we were spending it more than what we had budgeted for, and so we decided to put some money in there. The heat from the highway shed is propane, and we've had this confusion about where some of the, where we get a bill from Townsend or whatever the precursor was, and it wasn't clear. They had no way to really distinguish the little shed at the transfer station versus the highway. And so we think that we have not been clear in the past about where the propane costs are. So we talked to Townsend, and they are now telling us, that they now have a way to identify and tell us when they're delivering to the shed, the transfer station, which is infrequent, and when they're delivering to the town shed, which is more frequent.
To summarize, so we don't have to come back to this again, this is what, the 5th time we've discussed it? The transfer shed was overexpended.
Yes.
And the town garage was underexpended, and what you're doing now is you're bringing them into alignment with reality.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
I do on page 5.
No?
Okay. I just have a question about the police chief's salary, why it's only spent at 58%, whereas everyone else is at 73%.
I don't know. It's an interesting question. I mean, I could find out. I mean, he's hourly.
Salary?
Having said that.
Is hourly, not a
Yeah,
salary?
no, I think he's hourly. I think. because he has to file he can't work more than a certain number of hours per week because he's.
The
Oh, is that
32
why he went to
hour
hourly?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
But
understand that.
wait a minute, December 1st with that salary and supervising at least 2 FTEs, he's gonna fall into the salary category.
Oh, I don't think so. I can check on that.
No,
Is
it's the
something
new-
happening we don't know about?
No. It's,
Your nose grew a half an inch.
no. I can't explain it. It didn't, obviously it didn't jump out at me.
Okay. Now, because we don't have patrolman 4, and I see you're already at part-time salaries up to 81%, I'm assuming that whatever's left for the rest of the year, you'll be taking out of the patrolman 4's salary?
Well, we obviously have some expenses for patrolman 4, and I don't know that they're all recorded. Can't remember exactly when his last date was. So, but whatever is there will go to cover
Part-time.
any part-time or other items.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I just found out today that, excuse me, one of the cruisers had
Oh, no.
not an accident, but a problem, and it's a $1,200 problem, so.
The patrolman 4 was in the academy, so you weren't,
You're paying
he
his
was on,
salary.
I know, but he wasn't on the street, so she's assuming that part-time is going to increase to cover the streets, correct? But
No,
he was
no,
in the
no, no.
academy.
What I'm saying is because there's extra funds in patrolman 4's, I'm assuming they'll be pulling out of that to cover because their part-timers are already at 81%.
Right.
But that's a different situation because we don't have patrolman 4.
Right. you just-
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Right,
All
there
right,
should be
I just
no
wanna make sure that's
relationship.
clear.
yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, Chief Ducharme is not concerned about his budget, so, and despite this $1,200 surprise that we found out about today, I think we should still be okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Suzanne, what are the contracted services? Was that road patrol or shutting down roads and having to have somebody there? And
Yeah, or sometimes other towns will ask if we can provide a detail, and so we bill them. And so we just truly under budgeted that line, and that's why you see that we've increased the budget to what you're seeing,
But
$33,500.
that's revenue.
But
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
offset.
it's a wash.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Yeah,
we have to spend it, and it has to be within our budget.
Yep.
So you will see in FY17 a much larger figure.
Actually, if you look down to the revenue income side, the income from outside detail is 55,000. So we're making a little money here.
Mhm.
It covers wear and tear in the vehicle,
Mhm.
administrative costs, there is no profit involved.
Well, you don't profit
That's correct.
on government units,
That's
of course.
correct. It's to cover associate costs.
That's right. Plus a little taste for, yes, Ken, go.
Page 8, line striping, we budgeted, we had let's see, 4,000, we haven't spent anything, are we expecting to spend that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we did a PO, and so there, we'll be line striping the parking stalls that we lost when the state did the Front Street and the village, places in the village, and we have to line stripe turning lanes at the end of Rollins Road, the intersection with Oak Street, and some other, I don't remember all of the items that were on the PO, but yeah, it's about $3,000, I think, maybe a little more.
Now, are we gonna do that ourselves, or are we gonna contract
We
that?
contracted that. We don't have a line striping machine.
Town bought one,
Pardon?
the town bought one.
No.
But we
No,
don't.
Jeff is always looking to buy one. No, we have not bought a line striping machine.
When Al Johnson was here, they bought one.
But
For
there
about
was discussion
3,000.
about.
No,
a
are you
long
thinking of the
line-
patching machine?
No,
The hot patch, cold patch, whatever it
No, no.
was?
no.
There was never, no one ever mentioned a line striping machine.
Jeff mentioned something about a long lining machine to, I don't know, my understanding was maybe that does long stretches, then there was something else, so I thought there was some discussion about some sort of a machine.
He'd like a line striping machine. He's been
Yeah. No,
asking
I-
for one for
yeah.
years. We have no line striping machine.
I thought I recalled some discussion about
Any other questions there, Kim?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Transfer recycling equipment, page 9, it's about midway down. It was 500, it's now 3390. What was that for?
We patched a demo can, which was expensive. And, let's see, is there anything else transfer recycling? I don't remember, I think it was patching a demo can in order to make it last. Can't remember the detail.
Like welding type patching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on. Nancy.
Can I go back to 8, page 8? Under the road labor, we're only at 39.9%. Now, I'm under the impression that we were supposed to start taking during the summertime the 5 hours that the gentleman that was not working the transfer station and was working for the highway was supposed to have been taking out of the highway instead of
Transfer station.
transfer.
Yes.
So is that being done? Because that seems like an awful low amount for highway.
It's being done.
Because the attendants are at 60%
Means the transfer station.
at the transfer station.
I'm not sure that I understand.
I'm just wondering if you did,
Yes, any maintenance work that a transfer station did on behalf of the highway department was charged to the highway department.
okay. I just thought that 39% was pretty low considering he has the amount of help he said he had. That was all. Thank you.
Kim? I expect you to be asking more questions.
I'm gonna change the page.
Go on.
I'm on page 10, the library director's salary. Was that the original, is that on target? Or what's, because we don't really know what was appropriated for 2016.
Actually, as my understanding is there should not be breakout for library director, it should just be library.
You know, I don't know why that's there. So I'm happy to change that because it's a level of detail that,
Right.
yeah, all right. I will
Do you
make
want
that
the
note.
library's, now, this is a draft budget. This is not a final budget.
Q3?
Yes, and
Q3.
everything,
Okay, yeah, sure,
plus next year.
sure,
I'll send it to you after hours.
thank you.
Yes.
Can I just make a suggestion that maybe we acknowledge each page rather than jumping from 6 to 8 to 10? I mean, just to ask if anybody has a question, because it's kind of hard to follow.
Good idea.
You were, Nancy, you were on 8?
I'm fine.
Okay. And so
I had nothing on
9,
the
are there any
others.
questions on 9? I think they were pretty much answered. We're on page 10 now. Anything? Bueller? Page 11?
You got Nancy.
Yes.
The flags at the Legion, have,
Where? Oh, flag.
have we paid for those yet?
Yes.
Okay, because it shows it hasn't been extended.
It's extended.
Does it? Oh, okay, I'm looking backwards. Sorry about that.
Page 11 is just the total. Yes.
No sanitary trustees budget in here, did I miss it?
No, it's, yeah, you must have, let me do search here, I'll find it for you. maybe under buildings, government buildings?
Okay, got it.
Where is it?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
What page?
Page 4.
It's just the total, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what the library should look like, is your point. for-
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
So I have a question about that. Some of these,
I don't control cemeteries.
Nope,
Not yet, I
I
don't.
understand, but they're funded by taxpayers, and there's several, so there's at least a couple of these departments, call them departments, that we don't have much detail about. Why is that? Other than they're.
They're not in
principal-
here, you mean in detail? Well, that's because they have subsidiary details there, subsidiary, what is it? If you look at your schedule, some of them, like recreation, has a subsidiary budget. Police have more detail in here because it's so long-standing and rather expensive. But cemeteries, the library have subsidiary budgets, which
They're not-
fold into this one.
They're not departments of the town, so they're managed by their own boards of trustees.
I
So we have a
understand that.
different, somewhat different relationship to the cemetery and to the library.
So why are they not held accountable for their budgets in the same way that other departments are?
Well, they must-
I mean, if for reporting purposes.
Well, this is the town budget, and those subsidiary budgets roll up. I mean, technically, they could make cemetery, library as footnote items and say, those are separate budgets.
Why are they not here with their budgets?
I don't know.
That was my question.
We want to start going through library budgets, cemetery budgets, and those things? Is that what you're suggesting
I'm
we do?
just saying, they're funded by the town.
Okay.
They do present their budget as part of the budget prep.
I think there's a clarification, that they're funded by, a portion of it is funded by the town, not their whole budget. That's the difference between the library and the cemetery, because they have, it's the fund that they have, the perpetual care, and all of that is, that's who they use that to pay for their lawn care and all of those things, so I don't, that isn't funded by the town.
Is that revenue, though?
Well,
Perpetual care?
It's not
It's
our
for
revenue.
them.
That
No,
is
it's
for
not, it
them.
says go to general
Right.
fund.
No, it's their money, and that's what they use to pay their expenses, is my understanding.
Some-
So their whole budget is not supported by the town.
I understand, I'm just saying that anything that's funded by the town, I think we should be seeing as regularly as we see the other departments.
Okay, are you making sort of a motion that from now on, when we do quarterly reviews, that the library come in with its budget to show progress year-to-date? The
Sure.
same as the town, the school, the water and sewer district?
And they don't even have to show, but if they just do a quarterly, then we would have all of the information.
Anyone have any other sentiments about this?
Well, just a comment, I think there was a time we had this discussion, and my recollection, I think Salmi said they do their budgeting or something in half year, not quarterly, but biennially. So, do you recall that, we talked about that?
You did mention that.
I don't-
Yeah, okay, and so, you know, that they would be able to send us that information on a semi-annual basis, I guess. Is that,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay?
Are you talking about the library? or you talking-
Library.
Oh, no, they do it monthly.
Okay.
Well, then,
Now, or
And quarterly.
always has?
Now they certainly do it, at least for the
Okay.
time I've been
They
a
don't-
trustee, they have.
Right, but I think
Okay.
before your time of being on there, they weren't.
okay, because that was my recollection, right? She said something about they could get it to us on a semi-annual basis.
So they could do quarterly now.
I guess
If
it
he
sounds
says
like they
he's-
do monthly,
he
yeah.
says-
quarterly.
I mean, they have a detailed budget monthly.
And how about cemetery? Do we know anything about that at all?
See, I think this falls under the Board of Selectmen's budget, the town of Rollinsford's budget, and they should be submitting it to the Board of Selectmen.
Well, we, by courtesy, we see the libraries, and I would say it's the same thing by courtesy, we see the cemeteries. And so we do oversee the books and those sorts of things. The only thing I would caution is if this committee felt that they wanted to provide, they wanted to oversee that level of detail, that perhaps they could just get it submitted in writing or something. I mean, I just hate to have boards that are filled with people who are, who are volunteers for the town, just be given one more meeting that they have to attend. So, while I understand the oversight, I mean, there also is, they answer to their own, they have their own trustees, they're following their own RSAs. We can see that they're within their budgets, there's not a particular issue. So I would just try to be sensitive to the fact that, that these are people who are already doing a job for the town to help manage the cemeteries and the library. That's the only comment I have.
If you would like quarterlies from the library, I speak as a trustee, and that's tiptoeing between two functions. I'm sure we can ask the other trustees to agree to send you a quarterly, year-to-date reports.
I'd be satisfied with semi-annually from both of them, if nothing else.
Well, quarterly is more convenient in terms of accounting.
And to that end,
That might not be the case for the cemetery.
Right, I understand.
Right.
but to that end, if they can send us a document without having to have somebody come,
Yes.
I think that might be,
That's fine.
And that, yes, I would find that better, but I would also check with the cemetery. I don't know about quarterly, so I would at least ask them what they thought would work for them.
Right. I mean, I have a meeting with the other trustees on November 2nd, and I can point out, Budget Committee expressed interest in having reports at least on a quarterly basis. No, you don't have to come and present, but they would at least like the reports. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay.
So, one quick question, how many salaried employees do they have in the library?
One.
One?
Yeah.
Well, I
Library
thought the
director.
assistant library director
They
got,
have hourly,
oh,
part-time.
part-time,
Yeah.
and that's one of them.
Only the library director's salary.
Oh,
All the
and
rest
how
are.
many others are hourly? This,
I think it was 4 or 5, but it's in flux because some people come in only for like 5 hours a week, some come in
oh, I
for
thought
12
these were
hours a week, some come in for 20.
volunteers. I didn't think they were paid.
Well, they do have volunteers on top of that.
Oh. I thought most of them were volunteers.
No, they're not all volunteers, some are.
Well, you,
Okay.
I'm sorry, just have one more question. So does the town process payments for the cemetery trustees?
Yes, so they will present us with purchase orders for their lawn care. They just did some seeding, SEEDING. So yes, that process through, so they follow the purchase orders of the town. It's not, every once in a while, I think we should have a better grasp of the rules and responsibilities with regard to the select board and the cemetery trustees and the library trustees. But for the moment, that's been standard practice, and that's how they do come to us with purchase orders.
And then out of perpetual care, some of that gets reimbursed.
Yes, we don't touch perpetual care
No,
at
you don't
all.
touch it,
We
but
have
it
no-
gets reimbursed.
yeah, we have no, that won't be.
Gotcha.
Wasn't there some repayment of the town to the cemetery trustees going on?
Yes, so if the audits, now their books are audited by our auditor, so as part of the financial audit, their books are audited. And before my time, there was, they had dipped into principal unintentionally. I mean, it was unknowingly, I guess, unintentionally and unknowingly, they dipped into the principal. And so I guess the town, I'm not sure that I'm saying this precisely because I wasn't there, but it sounded like, I guess the town fronted them the money, and so now some of the money that we should get from them as revenue every year, they're using it to rebuild the principal. And I'm sorry, I can't be any more precise than that, but there was an issue. You know, Mark will be here, you know, when he comes, but that would be a good question for Mark.
Any other questions on the town budget, including revenue? Going once?
One question,
Yeah.
the hydro fund, how's that going?
Well, you know, it's not the money
It used to
producer
be,
that it used to
yeah.
be, and so we asked Enel or Northeast Hydro, one of the folks,
Yeah.
to come into us in February and talk to us about the declining revenue and what's it foot there. And it was both a combination of, you know, the repricing that's gone on with electrical contracts in the state, as well as the loss of flow in the river. So it was both. And we asked them, okay, then, well, how should we set our budget for 2016? Because we're not meeting our budget. And so they suggested 35, so we budgeted 35. We will be coming in a little bit higher than that, not much. And we'll be budgeting the same 35 for 17. Now, when we get they're working on the FERC relicensing, because they have to start now, and there'll be a public hearing, I think, sometime in November on that. And it's happening at their expense, so we talked with them, and, you know, they're going to, because it's an expensive proposition, and they're managing that whole process. We are the licensee, we remain the licensee. And one of the things that I noted when they were talking to us is that EPA is, for several rivers, has, I don't say asked, is requiring more throughput, more flow through on the free flow of the river. In other words, the part that's not diverted to the hydro. And so if they increase that for the Salmon Falls River, there'll be less that can be diverted to the produce, yeah. So, but obviously, I mean, they know that, the Enel folks know that, and they're still going ahead with this, so obviously there's still enough money to be made for them to allow them to proceed with that. But I encourage you, if you're interested, I mean, there will be a public hearing sometime at the end of November as part of the,
Here?
yes, actually here in this building. Not sure of the date, it'll be publicized.
Go.
On the revenue side in the transfer station.
Page 15.
Page 15, sorry, you've got stickers, demo, and then transfer station fee. What's the fee if it's not demo? Is it tires? Could it be tires or,
Any other kind of
Appliances.
electronics,
oh, okay,
you know, if you look at the fees, the fee structure under the transfer station ordinance,
yeah,
you know, demolition goes in one pile, but then it's all the other stuff. So if you've got a, you know, sofa or stuffed chair or,
good, so they're doing good.
so, well, you know, we did review the fee structure about a year ago. And, you know, when we did a sort of an audit a couple of years back, I mean, I think we're trying to be more diligent everywhere, as far as revenue and expenses. You know, we're just trying to keep everybody focused.
Yes, Kim. go
Can we
ahead.
get on page 12, can we get an update on the repair and replacement of culverts?
We're doing the bouncing around.
Yeah.
So, under capital items,
Yes.
so maybe you were not here, but we had a was it $70,000?
Yes.
So $70,000 warrant article that we had intended to use to repair, replace actually it was a repair, the Willie Street culvert. That's what we were going to do with it. And when the engineers came in with the design and talked to us about it with regard to the potential RFP, we were really close to the edge as far as what we had available to spend on the culvert. And at that point, we knew we were 32,000 over, or thought we were gonna be 32,000 over on Bear Road. And so we looked like we didn't have any place to juggle to try to do the culvert and find the extra money somewhere else if it came over what we had left in the warrant article. So we decided to, that we would just not go through with it this year. And put money, you know, we've got, if there's time, I'll mention to you later on at the meeting what we're thinking of at the moment. But that's, so we did not do the Willie Street culvert. Now, you will notice, if you're traveling down Willie Street, that we talked to the engineer about anything that we could do to stop the erosion. Because one of the things that, with Willie Street, is the culvert, so on the school side is the infall, the outfall is across the street. It's really steep, and it erodes really readily. And so, which is one of the reasons why there was some possibility of, we might need to extend the length of the culvert so that it would go beyond that steepness, so it would stop that erosion. And so that's when we said, look, we can't deal with another overage of cost. But we said, is there anything we can do to help mitigate this in the meantime? And so we've got this big riprap up and down that you might have seen if you passed along Willie Street. So we did do that. And that's the sad tale of Willie Street. And infrastructure, which is expensive, isn't it, Dennis?
So is Sligo done finally?
Sligo is reopened. It's reopened as a one-lane bridge. It is not the final repair. And there's another culvert on Sligo, which may need working, to work on, but they're not, they have, I'm just gonna talk, this is just me talking, this isn't the board. Sligo Road is sort of, I've put in the background. I think we need to pay attention to Willie Street and Pine Street. You know, it's heavily
They're much
traffic,
more
the
used.
water and the sewer are both implicated for
Yeah.
one or the other, and so we need to fix those. Sometimes I look at Sligo and I say, well, you know, this poor little town is doing the best it can to manage its crumbling infrastructure. And so we'll keep at it, but if something happens to one of those culverts on Sligo, we can at least, we'll do what we did the last time, we can close it, and we can still reach every piece of it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it falls.
Inconvenient, but there's less.
It's inconvenient, but, you know, if we had immeasurable resources, or there were, you know, the state could help, or any one of a number of things, of course we would want to do them. It's a question of what can we do, what do we need to do? So I think we need to do Willie and Pine. Pine is gonna be a little more expensive because there's more permitting associated with that. So the engineer's coming back on Monday to talk to us about trying to look at what we need to budget for next year. And I'll tell you one of the things we're thinking of, if there's time at the end of this. I had asked, I think, for some, I think I said, if there's time, I want to talk about some of the, you know, things that I think the budget committee should know about, that the board is thinking about. And, you know, we're just still thinking.
Anything else? Kim?
Yep. Just, so on your summary, you said that motor vehicle permits are up, but it's under the anticipated revenue. Are they up over last year?
Yes, both.
What's both?
They're up year to year, year over year, but they're also more than we anticipated.
You have anticipated 505, and to date it's 427.
Yes, but we feel we're going to reach the
That
budget
should
we
be
anticipated.
74%, not 84%. So they're ahead of their goal. If they were right on
74%?
target,
Okay.
that number would be 75, but
Okay.
it's 84.
Okay.
Mark? Sure?
Yes.
Okay, we can't go back to this page once it's done.
It's fine.
Okay. There's just railroad tax. And if you go down to page 15, this is where you see 34,011, police outside coverage at 56,000. So they've got $20,000 surplus. Their billings exceed their expense by $20,000.
Profit.
No,
Oh,
not
no,
profit.
no.
No.
Covers the expenses.
Covers our associated expenses.
And probably will be used in other expense items in the town. Okay, so much for 15. Does you raise your hand, or are you
No,
just brushing your
but-
hair back? Okay, that's it. I think we're done with the town. Any other questions?
One question.
Yes.
We get a monster of a storm, a lot of rain, washes out roads. Will FEMA cover all those culverts?
Well, I mean, it's a good question, Dennis.
No, really, have the paperwork ready so you can submit it.
Well, we did, we tried that. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So when Sligo, when we had the problem with Sligo, if you recall, we had a warrant article with a large number.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the large number was, 3/4 of which was going to be covered by an anticipated FEMA grant, and the rest by the town. But we said up to 3 or 4, whatever we said, it was an odd kind of a warrant article that said it was going to stay viable for a number of years because we were applying to FEMA based on a storm event, I think it was the Mother's Day event.
Yes.
So there were programs available for hazard mitigation, or there were 2 different programs. And we got it, so we failed the first year, maybe we failed the start of the second year, and then we got as far as being forwarded along from the state of New Hampshire to the national. But the national switched priorities and ended up financing only plans and not actual infrastructure repair. And so we had to abandon it, because we had to do something. There was a lot of, please reopen the Sligo Road. So we did, it was supposed to be a 5-year fix. And that's what we did. So if one can associate it with an event, you can apply. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Don't worry, another disaster will come along and FEMA will.
Well, it's
declare
the big
disaster.
cities that get all the money, that's the problem. Manchester, Nashville.
Well, it's frustrating, because what you're saying, the fact that we're small is not to our advantage
No.
in any way, shape, or form. It's difficult for us to leverage, we're going out to bid for contracts, they're small relative to the cities, towns around us, and so, it's way of life. I don't have any way to make it better.
Go on, Kim, go.
Last question, revenue, so, looks like,
Page.
well, it's the last page, and the anticipated revenue is 1.2, same as, 1.2, and it's, are you expecting it really to catch up? I mean, it's pretty much below what you're anticipating.
Are you talking about total revenues?
You're talking about the 733,000?
Yeah.
Well, what we don't have posted are the state block revenue things, so the room and meals, the highway, those aren't posted yet. Some of the highway may be posted actually, but we don't have the room and meals, which is over 100,000. And then the other thing that's a part of that is fund balance, and our capital revenue, our reserve funds. So the reserve funds are anticipated revenue. They come from one part of the town and into the general fund. And so they don't happen till the very end. So yes, we are expecting to need revenue.
Okay, that's it for the town budget. Just so declare. So, Judy, go. Sorry.
All right, school, so, what I passed out, and I think all of you received electronically, this is the October statement that we get at the school, which is the one we start with. So it was created on October 7th. So as we look at sort of the first quarter of the school, the big pieces are that we have that we were under budgeted for our middle and high school students to Marshwood, and we knew we would be. And it covers about 10 students. So we're about $100,000 under budgeted. Right now, we're holding steady with our students. They aren't jumping up the way they did last year. But we are 10 students under budgeted for this school year. However, we realized a savings that we were going to realize in the budget we were working on now. We had a teacher resign over the summer, and we did not replace that teacher. The grade school scrambled at Rollinsford Grade School to find a way to provide a better than adequate education without replacing that teacher. So that's why you see a big savings line under the regular education. It's based pretty much on the, as it says there, the note says the teacher salaries and benefit savings rate. And of course, and they made some other changes in the teacher. So those are the two big things that we see happening in the budget. In this, the board is working still with the administration, the SAU administration. We're not happy with the way they're encumbering or not encumbering things, so we can see what's really available to us to use or to look at, and so we're working that through. So a lot of the zeros you might see under the encumbered line, it's not true. They are encumbered. We do have to pay the transportation. We do have to pay the heating bill. They are encumbered. They're simply not noted here, but they will be at the next one that we get. And so with that, those are pretty much the highlights at the moment. I will report, we have the electricity. We have now finished the second, thanks to the town, we have now finished the second phase of the three-phase project for three-phase power. And it's gone very well. We have, I'm trying to think, what else did we get? The asbestos is, as far as we know, completely gone. As far as anyone can tell, it is completely removed from the school, and that means in the kitchen, they actually moved the counters, because when they did the original asbestos removal in the kitchen, they didn't pick the counters up and remove it from under the counters. That was done this time. So anywhere that anyone could possibly get to, unless they took and we won't even go into what they might possibly do, but hopefully, none of us will ever have to sit through another warrant article to remove asbestos from the grade school.
But you keep having to add those weasel phrases.
And I'm
As far
afraid
as
so.
you know.
Because really, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to keep adding those weasel phrases.
Really, yes, what else? And we had one other warrant article, which is now escaped, the paving, I think, right? Paving. No, I guess that was done.
No,
It was done
paving
the year
was
before.
done
It
out
was
of
done
the
year
extra.
before. Yeah, anyway, I thought there was one other warrant article, but anyway, I think it was just, maybe it was just those two. But, the work was done, looks good.
To the reserve accounts, the 25 and 25.
Well, those are the reserve accounts, which of course we don't touch. That goes into special, so we had the two, we went into, so we have another 25,000 in our special ed reserve and another 25,000 in our great emergency should something happen to the building fund that we could use. So with that, I will take questions.
No, I'm always talking, so you go first.
It's just a general question on the retired teacher that wasn't replaced with a.
She resigned. She
Resigned,
not
I'm
retired.
sorry. So there's the 4, 5, 6 that are in one group, and the K ones that are together. Is there plans going into the next year to rectify that situation?
The idea was always that by this coming year, on the coming year's budget, that a teacher would have found a way to provide education without, with one less teacher. So that's an educational curriculum kind of thing that the board really doesn't, we're not educators. We go with what they recommend for how they set up that. So if citizens, parents in particular, have concerns, they need to be in touch with the school about how that part of the education is being delivered. And of course, the board is happy to hear any of those things, but it's not related to budget.
I'm asking, follow-up, I'm asking because Alan made a presentation on co-teaching that did not include 3 grades. And my understanding is when this teacher did leave, 3 grades were put together, which a 4th grader and a 6th grader, in my opinion, are leagues away from each other. So that's why I was asking the question, because the presentation that he gave for the budget justification was not with 3 grades in one group.
Well, co-teaching can go in many different ways, and the school has traditionally done two grades.
Right.
In it. And the 3 grades are a way they chose to scramble to go to something. As far as the 3 grades, though, I hope, and I know you're an informed person, if you look at some of the literature that they have under the resource, they have a tab now about resources. There are books about multi-grade teaching and multi-grade education available, and information out there to help people understand sort of the positive parts of multi-grade education. And again, it's something that the board doesn't put its fingers into unless it's really something that has to go through the school.
Right.
The same way, if a parent came and complained to a board member, we would say, first, talk to the teacher, talk to the principal, talk to the superintendent, in that order.
So,
Nancy looks like she's about to launch into something.
No,
No, no.
I'm way back, I'm way into the budget, so if you want to, do you want to do that one, or are you going to do the one that was sent out?
This is a detail, she's
Well,
got the detailed budget.
I have the
yeah.
detail.
No, I just had a question about the number of students, the 10 additional students for this year.
Well, they were there last year. See, they were there last year, and by the time, but we had to finalize last year's budget by December when we presented it here, and those students came in after December, so they weren't full-year students last year. So there were 10 that were unaccounted for in the budget we had to put in place for this year, and now we knew they were going to be unaccounted for. We knew it long before, long before this year started. We knew that was going to happen.
Was it regular education, special education,
I'm
or a
talking-
mixture?
We're $100,000 down. We're $100,000 underfunded for regular education and about 80 for special education.
No, in the new student pool, was it all regular ed, or was it a mixture of regular and
Oh,
special?
it's a mixture.
Okay, okay. And just generally speaking, how would you say that the a la carte system is working so far?
I think it's working pretty well. I mean, when they tell us what they're going to charge us, it's pretty darn close. In the beginning, if what they did with the students that we knew and did, it was worked out. The pricing worked out pretty well. I mean, of course, no one likes to spend all that money anyway, but it seems to be working out all right.
What did you call it?
A la carte. Special
Oh, a la
education is now
carte.
delivered.
I'm
a la
sorry, I just
carte
missed the, yeah.
In Marshwood.
I'm good.
In
I
Summersworth,
misunderstood.
we're doing it on a tiered system, but in Marshwood, we're doing it a la carte.
Judy, can you tell us the numbers again for students, what we have in the grade school
Yes.
and middle and high?
Sure. So as of October, in Rollinsford grade school, we have 164 kids. That's up almost 10 students from last year. It is, and I will point out, it is very unusual to have a grade school, an elementary school, growing in population. The Marshwood School District elementary population is going down. And the only reason their middle and high school is going up is because they have our students there. So it's unusual to have a grade school going up. Ours went up 10 between June and September.
Okay.
So, all right, in Marshwood Middle School, we have 51 students as of October. In Marshwood High School, we have 81 students. And in Somersworth High School, we have 22 students
In the high school?
in the high school. We still have 2 grades at Somersworth. This is-
Junior and seniors?
Yep.
When are we done with Summersworth?
2 more years.
Well, this
How-
year
how
and
are-
next year.
This year and next year, which is,
Yeah.
this year and next year, correct.
Show the
Yep.
individual grade amount.
Our, yeah, so K through 6, we have 164, 7 through 12, in total, we have 154.
But your increase in Marshwood could explain some of your increase in the grade school. If you have new families moving in, they could still have elementary school kids as well as having the middle high school.
Absolutely.
So that's not a shock that you're having increasing in the grade school now if you've had your increases in the middle and high school.
Yeah, it was a little bit because we didn't see any increase last year. So it wasn't the students we picked up last year. So I mean, you're right, I mean, you're right. But it does look like we have younger families moving in.
Mhm.
At least that's what it appears anecdotally, we just don't know that for sure. We'll
Yeah,
see how-
case in point, the house down on the corner, on the end of Berwick Street, there's 3 going to the to the grade school now that moved in June, I believe, the end of June.
Anyway, so, yeah, we're keeping an eye on it very closely because these are the types of things we want to know about.
Anything else about the school budget?
Yes. Let me get to the page.
And please let me know what page you're on.
Well, I lost my little yellow. It's about the custodian salaries. When I came to your meeting, I found out that we now, instead of 2 part-time, you went to 1 full-time.
Yes.
And are we including benefits now? Because he's full-time?
Yes.
So there wasn't the savings that you had anticipated?
It wasn't the
with
same
2 part-time.
savings that we had anticipated, that is true. And you may be aware of that situation. One of the custodians, on finding out that he was going to go to 50%, chose to leave the school instead rather abruptly. The other custodian, who has been with the school for a long time, said he understood that, that this is what happens, and he would like to stay on, and he and his wife would discuss it to see if he could. In the meantime, he picked up the slack, and even though at that point we had 2 full-time, he put in extra work and did a lot of the work. And the school really felt it was best to keep someone with that experience with the building around it.
So do
offered
we
him
only
a-
have 1 full-time, or do we have more?
We have 1 full-time custodian. We have the facilities director, who is also, does a lot of the custodial work as well. And then we do have an hourly person who would come in when you need 2 people to do things at the same shift. So you're right, we did not get quite the savings we had anticipated with custodians.
So, just so I understand, because you don't have 2 part-time with no benefits, but 1 full-time, they have benefits, that person has benefits, right?
Yes. Now,
So-
depending on what the timing on the, and then again, I'm not quite sure where we cut it off, I think it's at 50%. He might have still been able to receive benefits where we would provide 50% of the benefits, and he would have, I can't remember where we cut it off at the school.
Okay, I'm just trying, it suggests that 2 part-time people with no benefits would be actually cheaper than 1 person full-time with benefits, especially with the cost of health insurance these days.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I don't remember where we cut it off with this, and again, we would have, we probably would have said, I can't remember where we cut it off, if it's at 50% or below 50% where we don't.
Yeah, I believe Alan had made the point of saying going part-time, 2 part-timers would save not only on the part-time, but also on the fact that the benefits.
Right.
Yeah, well, our part-time teachers can receive it, now receive benefits, but they don't receive, if they're 50% teacher, we provide them with 50% of
Because
what
that's
we
under
would have
con-
provided a
that's under
100%
the
teacher, and
contract.
then they pay all the rest.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure what we do with.
Do you have part-time teachers?
We do, indeed, we have a number of
Part-time
them.
teachers, not paras, teachers?
Part-time teachers,
Oh, you do?
music,
Oh,
art,
the music, okay.
one of the reading teachers.
They're 3 union now. So
Yes,
you
oh,
have-
they're union.
They're
That's-
union, that's why you
yes,
supply
yes.
benefits.
Mhm.
It's not, you don't have a choice on that, yeah. No, you don't, unless you negotiate it out.
Right, right. Yeah, I understood the part-time teachers, but I was under the impression when Alan came that we were gonna see, that was part of the reduction of the amount that we were gonna look at, is because there wasn't going to be the insurance, the retirement.
Yeah, and I'm not, what page are you on?
I'm on page 6 of 7. Because it's showing with it encumbered that you will be over anticipated.
Yes, because we had hoped to do that saving, so we are going to be, we're going to be a little bit under on salary and over on dental, which is in the law, and over on health insurance, which is considerably more, yeah. But of course, that's not just that one custodian that you're seeing that in, that's all custodial services, which includes the facilities director, so.
But you had only budgeted for two part-times and a full-timer.
And one full-time, right, that's correct.
So.
Not for two full-time, correct.
So your full-time is taking actually technically the salaries of the two part-timers, and now you have a helper who has to be there when there's more. So that is
Yes.
something that you hadn't budgeted for.
That is correct.
Technically.
That is correct.
Yeah. But that person doesn't have benefits.
No.
Right.
Yes, go on.
What are you anticipating for additional students for the next budget year?
We, at the moment, and this is a question, because the new budget is still in flux, we're working on it, of course. At the moment, the administration presented us with a budget that was flat in students. The board feels that that might be a little premature to have it be flat. So we're talking about how many to build in some sort of cushion so they won't get stuck like we did with 15 or 17 this first year, last year.
Is that the reason for the $143,000 increase in middle and high school for this next coming year?
We don't have an increase in this coming year yet.
The proposed
No,
budget?
that would be our 6th grade going there. That would be that would be a whole nother class going there.
Oh.
We're not all there, we're not filled up yet, we're not filled up. We fully have 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th now.
Yep.
Next year, we'll have 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, another full class will go up. So we know that more students will be going in there, whatever is in the 6th grade class. So whatever's in the 6th grade class, this year 25, we expect another 25 students.
6th graders are turned into
Yeah,
7th graders.
we'll turn into 7th graders, right?
Yeah, they don't turn into
Yes.
11th graders.
No, well, some of them probably will.
Think anyway.
Yeah, but that's why we'll be sending more students because we're sending another full class in.
So what you're doing is you're sending the level in high school up to the high school
Yes.
over there, not really the grade school is not the.
Right, it's coming into the 7th grade and the
It's
rest are
because
moving up.
each year at the high school level, you're knocking off a class in someone's right, and that
Right.
class is
So
going
we're
to
knocking off
Marshwood.
11 and we're adding
Gave 'em-
25,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
11 students.
Right.
We're knocking off 11 that are in Summersworth
Yep.
and moving in 25
Okay.
to from.
Mm.
Okay.
Somehow the term knocking off sounds a little off.
I know, it's probably the wrong
Yeah.
phrase.
Yes.
So that's why the increase for our future, that's why the anticipated increase for the future.
But the 12th graders who are graduating, both from Marshwood and Summersworth, some of those will be replaced by the 6th graders turning into 7th graders, correct?
That is correct.
But you were doing 11, 10, 11, and 12 opportunity at the Summersworth High School, correct? You were giving them 3
Correct.
years, now you're only giving them 2 years.
Right.
And then you're giving them 1 year. So you're knocking off, right, with
Yeah, we're all
terminology,
getting-
you're
we're all getting
removing
Transitioning.
the ability to stay in Summersworth, and those are going to, they don't have a choice now unless they choose themselves to pay tuition. They are gonna go to Marshwood, so there's where you're increasing your,
I agree, but the
Your level
total
of-
population of middle and high school students is the net of all 12th graders who graduate, plus the 6th graders who turned into 7th graders.
right, when you leave at 12, you've got the 6 coming up.
Right.
But you're also gaining one level of education that's gonna go there now that you didn't have that choice this year. Because
No, the 10th graders
they
will.
had 10th, 11th, and 12th last year.
Right,
Now they only have 11 and 12.
right.
So those 10th graders that were 9th they have to go, am I saying this wrong?
Well,
Every year you're
but-
dropping a class
but-
at Summersworth to go up
and
to
let's back, and
Marshwood.
let's back up, let's back up one more. In the current budget, we have 10 unbudgeted students, so that, for next year, we're budgeting for those 10, obviously. Plus, the difference between the 11th graders that are now there, which is about, we have about 22, if we look at both schools, we have about 22. It fluctuates actually a little bit, I'm very surprised we're getting that fluctuation at these grade levels. Well, let's call it 22, because it's gone up and down already this year. And the 25, so we're budgeting for 13 students essentially. I'm sorry, that's not right, that's 3 students. I don't know, yeah, 13, the 10 and the 3, so, which is about $130,000.
At both levels, at high school and middle school.
It's the same cost, we don't have a different cost.
No, I'm
But
just
yes,
saying,
per
but,
student.
but it's an increase in both schools. Yes.
Correct, that's correct.
So what is the tuition cost at Summersworth right now?
At Summersworth, and I don't have that right here in front of me, but
Well-
it's about 12,000
And
for
what
this
is-
year, and for
Okay,
next year it'll be
Marshwood,
higher.
Marshwood is
It's
coming in.
just under 10, it's 9, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9. No, it's still under 10. So we use 10, we still use 10 as our base, but it's just under 10.
Okay.
Well, in terms of, for base education, yes, I mean, Summersworth is higher.
But at Summersworth, the special ed costs are included.
No, they're not,
No.
they are no longer included,
Okay.
they are tiered. So once we left the area agreement, but they give us a tier, so if you're a tier 1, you get charged this much.
Okay.
In Marshwood, if you're, what might be considered a tier 1 in Summersworth, you might only use 3 hours of speech. So it might be cheaper in Marshwood, or you might incur a few more things on the a la carte menu and be more expensive.
So when we come into budget season, we should expect that the middle school and the high school tuition will be even higher because you haven't budgeted in any potential new students.
We have not budgeted any potential new students, that is correct. And we're trying to figure out as a board what would be reasonable. We don't want to go crazy, we don't want to think 10 and you throw in an extra 100,000, but we also don't want to leave us behind the 8 ball either. So,
So the 10 that came in, which you can't really talk to because of privacy things, I mean, where they came from.
most of them came from South Berwick.
You go to Rollins, did you have to pay for them?
Yeah, because their parents work in New Hampshire,
Uh-huh.
and actually the bulk of them came from.
So they moved over the
They
line
moved
and
over the
bought
li-
property
They
or?
they bought property or rented. I know at least one bought, I was speaking with her in February.
Okay. Well, the newness of that's gonna wear off eventually.
And apparently, it may have already worn off, because we,
Yeah.
again, have seen
Right,
no big
Right.
movement in the first month.
right.
So-
There's also a limitation in the number of housing units available. And if vacancy rates are low, or rates are high, that will act as a buffer.
But we just have had 2 houses built on our street. I mean, houses that, we're having a lot of building houses. Don't be surprised, that's what I say, going ahead, you need to be planning for that, because
There's
there is new
Wentworth,
building.
there are a couple of
Thank you,
subdivisions.
that's what we're trying to figure out, is what is a good
So
way to
just built,
plan,
there
yeah.
are 2 different houses on ours.
Yeah, but you're getting also a lot of people who are building who don't have kids and aren't planning on any.
See, that's why
We're
just
old
vacancy.
population
Yeah,
here.
Go ahead.
So
Fish like a chicken. It's just as good as anything else we've got.
Other questions on the school budget?
Kim?
What are you anticipating for warrant articles for school repairs this year?
Yep, the final phase of the 3-phase electrical is one. Yeah, we're working
About
the,
the boiler maybe?
not this year, I don't think, could be wrong. But there's some work that needs to be done on the doors, the door flashing. But it will also fall under historical renovation, and we need to get our ducks in a row to find out what we can get for matching grants to do some of that work. So Right now, I know it's, definitely the last phase of the three-phase electrical.
Any anticipated costs for that?
Yeah, actually, the anticipated cost was actually, what I saw, and again, I don't know this for sure now, but it was less than what we've been doing. I think it was less than $100,000. And again, and the teacher that resigned, in the board's mind, in our plan, in our sort of covenant with the town that we want to keep saving money at the grade school, and that was going to be in our coming budget for next year. It was not going to be in this budget. So we have savings in the budget before we were expecting them, essentially.
So when you were discussing at school board, one less teacher, you're talking about the teacher you already have one less of. You don't anticipate
We do not
one more.
anticipate, we do not, no, we do not. As a matter of fact, if enrollments continue to go up, it's a different story.
Okay, go on,
One last
jump
question.
in.
How many additional students are added to RGS this year so far?
From last
Nine.
June till now, it was, well, yeah, I think it was 10, and it might be 9 or 10.
So to the grade school, not to middle and high school?
Only to the
right?
grade school.
155 to 164. is the
Mhm.
number. I do believe, unless there's more questions, Kim,
No?
that we are, now, we go to the final matter. Is there any other matter that may come before the budget committee? Yes, Suzanne?
Well, if the budget committee would like to, I would like to talk about some of the things that the board is thinking about for 2017.
Thinking about, like ordering lunch?
Like what?
Like ordering lunch?
No, with regard to the budget,
Oh,
things that you're discovering and preparing for. So I'm happy to do that if the budget committee would like to hear.
I'd like to hear.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, what prompted what you're about to hear, which is not going to be fun, is that the fire engine, we're going to have to replace the fire engine 3 or 4 years before we were anticipating replacing it, which has, price tag of about $450,000. That is big. And so when we were presented with that piece of information, the board is now seriously looking at a bond. And what we're thinking about is a bond that we would use to fund so public safety and operating efficiencies. So the fire engine, the culverts, so it would be both Willie Street and Pine Street. And it would allow us to have a larger bid out. Instead of bidding one at a time, and they're small bids, it would allow us to bundle them together and have a larger bid, and hopefully get maybe a better price for that. So fire engine, the 2 culverts that we deem to be the most important, Willie and Pine. And then with regard to operating efficiencies, we would want to look at the transfer station and use the money to buy a second compactor to replace the demolition cans, which are becoming, you practically see through some of them if you've been to the transfer station and looked. And so we can't pummel, is a better word, but we can't
Compact.
thank you. We can't compact the demolition stuff to the extent that we could if the cans were stronger and more reliable. A second compactor would provide us the same sorts of operating efficiencies in the sense that we never haul a full municipal solid waste to the transfer station, which has been a frustration for me from the time I first came onto the board. And until we get a second compactor, there's not going to be a way to do that. So we're thinking of a bond that will do the fire engine, the 2 culverts, the compactor demolition cans at the transfer station, and we would also fix the retaining wall where the recycled ones now are up against, because that's falling down, And we would repave it, and while that's not, wouldn't give us an operating efficiency, or you could stretch it, and it could be public safety because the paving at the transfer station is not in good shape. So we're thinking, okay, that, you know, if you add up all of those things, it comes close to about $1 million. And you go, it's a normal reaction. But when we worked it out with the SIP, if we put, because these are infrastructure capital improvements that we're talking about. So if you structure your SIP so that $100,000, let's say, annual payment is part of the SIP for those years, then it will cause the folks who are working on the SIP to juggle things around so that we're still keeping, you know, about the same kind of level for our overall capital improvement projects. So we're thinking about that.
What's the price of money these days?
It's, if you look at the, it's still reasonably cheap, so we've run some scenarios with the bond bank, which is not, it doesn't not necessarily the way we go, but it's running from either just under 2 to 2, depends on the term, the amount, you know, this kind of thing. Something just crossed my mind and I completely lost it. But well, the other thing that we're thinking of doing as far as the cost this year is if we decide to do this, we hire a bond counsel to manage this, parts of it for us, which is what the bond bank says you should really should do. So that's about a $7,500 cost. So
Per year?
Just
For the whole
one time,
bond?
one time. Yeah, one time. So that's something we're looking at.
Can I
Yes.
just ask, so we've been putting like 200,000 into projects. So are you saying that, excuse me, we put 100,000 towards the bond and then another 100 towards immediate smaller
Yes.
projects so that we're still moving forward?
We're still moving
So
forward.
it's the same money, but more
So we're
quickly?
looking at, you know, trying to keep that to about 200 a year. It's more than that in some years, but that's, you know, that's kind of what we're trying to do. You know, that includes the bond repayment.
Right.
We're also looking at a performance contract for energy efficiency. So,
I need to speak to that.
okay, so we've got somebody who's going to be looking at our buildings and giving us a proposal. And they're generally revenue neutral. So they put the upfront capital, you pay your, you know, they guarantee you that your electrical or your energy won't be more than such and such. If it is they pay it. If it isn't, they get the difference until the contract is up, and then you gain all of the efficiencies that are put in place.
I want to get right into this. You do know that Eversource handles this. It does
Eversource
it.
handles what?
Energy efficiency loans. There's a municipal service for that.
Well, this is Eversource that sponsors these kinds of conversations.
Well, I know they sponsor them, but they also handle the financing.
They don't handle all the financing. We had somebody, well, there's a limit to it. So we had somebody come to us last February with an LED proposal, and he said, this was February. He said, that 2016 money is already used up, the Eversource money. So, you know, so we weren't going to be able to use the Eversource rebates or that sort of thing. So,
Is it solar?
Do you mind if I check with Eversource?
please go right ahead. I don't mind at all.
I'm sorry, is it solar? I'm sorry, Jen.
No, well, it's likely not to be solar, but one of the things could be LEDs for the streetlights,
Oh, yes.
Right.
so that, you know, there's a lot of
Our
saving.
little tennis club did that,
Yeah.
went through, it wasn't Eversource then, it was their other electrical company, and we did really well. We got new lights, these lights up here could be replaced.
Yes,
There's good stuff there.
well, it could be a boiler furnace, I mean, they're looking at
Right.
energy things, and, so anyway, I don't know that he started that work. We've said, the best that we could do was say, okay, go ahead and do that, give us a proposal, if it's within the board's ability to say yes or no, we will. If it's something more that has to go to the town meeting, then we will do that as well. But
Well, went directly to the electric company, which is what you're talking about.
Right.
Without going to someone like who says they'll come in.
Right, but you have to, depends on what capital you have to pay up front for any of this. So was it capital, did you have
They
to?
they got reimbursed, yeah.
The way Eversource described it, and I looked it up, is they plot out what you need for capital investment. And the savings on your electric bill comes out of that until it's paid off. And they guarantee it will always be less than the difference between what you're paying now and what you're paying with the energy efficient stuff. So that it always, it's
Right.
revenue negative.
Yes, this is more than electricity. So this is looking at our heating and cooling in this building as well as the other buildings. So it does go beyond just electrical costs.
I'd like to see what Eversource has to say.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I just wanted to make a comment, because I know that they've done energy efficient studies on town property previously,
Yeah.
but did not include the school. And I think the school is a town-owned property and needs to be done as well, so we should keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. I can say that the facilities manager, his first year there, did get most of the light bulbs, and it was done through Eversource. They provided some of the bulbs, actually.
Right.
And he
right.
got he got them at a he got them at a very cheap rate, and immediately, I mean, you could see he could tell you the wattage difference right down. It made a big difference, and I know that he's been working, and the work he's done on the boiler has saved our fuel oil almost half. Our fuel oil use almost in half. So, I mean, these kinds of things are ongoing at the school, and we did not get we didn't coordinate a way to try to get this in.
What I'm talking about is not unusual. In case, I mean, Portsmouth school districts have entered into performance contracts, Manchester school districts into performance contracts. A school up in near the Lakes region. So I mean, it's not an unusual kind of situation, but I mean, we're happy, if you have some other information, we're always happy to look at
Right.
things.
The compactor, is that gonna be a second compactor for the
Yes.
trash? Is this for the
Yes.
recyclables?
No, trash.
So you're not doing nothing with recyclables, everything's gonna stay the same? I thought it was for recyclables.
No, still single stream recycling
So it's still gonna be single stream,
Yeah.
and you're gonna bring an extra compactor
for
in because
municipal
you're done.
solid waste. We never
Fill the
never
compactor.
fill it. And the hauling charges are
What is it,
expensive.
every 2 weeks they pick it up?
No, it's every
No.
week.
Every week?
Every week. So what you're gonna see when we do the budget, we've done this, is, there used to be one line for Lamprey.
Yeah,
We're now providing 2 lines so that we can manage those costs separately. The 2 costs are the tipping fees that we pay through the cooperative, the waste management.
yeah.
And then the other one is the hauling fee. And the hauling fee is where we have that damn truck, the cooperative for the
Yeah.
damn truck, DT, damn truck. We looked at getting out of it,
Did we try to
and,
get out of that once?
yeah.
A few times.
So we looked again, and we talked, Northwood was itching to get out of it as well.
Yeah.
But the residual that we still owe on it, it doesn't make sense.
Well, we were talking about it, they went out and bought a brand new truck, remember that?
So
But before your time.
Yeah, it was.
why would a second compactor, I don't understand why
Oh,
we
okay.
can't fill one, another one's gonna fix that, I don't follow
Okay,
that.
so I worked in this riddle when I first got on the board, because I hated the thought of doing that. And so if you wait, you're either in a situation where you're 2/3 full or whatever, or you've got trash coming, there's no room for the trash. So because of the Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, there's no point at which, you're always stuck with the Saturday, and now it's gonna go over. And so if we have a second compactor, we'll fill up the first one, when it's full, we'll work on the other one, but we will only be hauling a full load.
So instead of once a week, you'd go every 2 weeks?
Whatever would turn out, wouldn't be quite that, a week and a half maybe.
Dennis?
I gotta talk. Tomorrow night, you're having a meeting about the roads,
Yes,
and is there gonna be another bond coming out on top of this
No.
one, the roads?
No.
I
No,
heard
no,
something
the
about
roads,
$2 million
okay.
and
over 10 years.
a bond.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, we're gonna manage, we're managing the roads, our plan is to manage the roads as, you know, either
Oh,
some
okay.
combination of the operating
10-year
expense
bond for
or,
$2.
you know, but roughly, you know, some years more than others, but in the, so what do we have? We had about 250,000 this year. So it would be 250 to 300,000 or 200, you know, it would be around there across the 10 years. And the only thing I can say is at the end of the 10 years, even though we're gonna start all over again, our roads will be in generally much better shape than they are at the start of the 10 years.
Is there
But
a
it's-
way you could get a company in here and seal the roads every once in a while, so extend the life of them?
Well,
You know what I mean? You walk, you go down a lot of these roads, probably 2 or 3 years old, and they get cracks in them.
Well, we built some crack sealing into the plan, so like
Okay.
Bear Road has crack sealing in 20-something, wherever. And, you know, if we do, Legion.
Foundry.
Thank you. If we do Foundry Street next year, it has crack sealing, you know, 6 years hence or
Pine
5 years
Street,
hence.
Pine Street's pretty good. It's a lot of
They-
cracks in it.
Dennis and all of you know, and people will come to me and say, well, if you wait until then to do my road, it's gonna be gravel. You know, and I say, what would you like us to do? And, you know, unless we're willing to put more money per year. So we've got a plan that
Yeah,
is
just, yeah.
gonna work at this and work at this and work at this.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't
You
think
know-
Stockdale's ever been done since they've been.
Heritage has never been done, Woodland has never been done,
So-
correct.
Nancy, please.
Okay, back to SIP and the fire truck,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Isn't there already $200,000 set aside in the SIP plan for the fire truck?
Well, those things are, they're
I
not,
mean,
yeah,
and-
I mean, they're,
What you had anticipated
we had,
if we
whatever,
hadn't gone
you're
to bond.
probably correct. I'm not gonna argue with that, I don't know, but now, you know, we've looked at all of that, and so now we're gonna use some of that to fund some other things and bond the fire truck. So,
But the SIP account is not designated,
It's
it's
not
it's not
I'm-
designated to
Right.
anything.
I
It's a lump
understand
sum and
that.
used.
It's
I
a
It's
planning
most
understand
important,
that.
exactly.
But if everything fails as far as that, then if it's the fire truck, then it would actually only be $250,000 needed for the fire truck if the bond fails, rather than the 450, because we've already incorporated 200,000 in the SIP
well,
I don't think there's.
Or the fire truck.
it
for
would,
the fire truck.
I don't know, I'd have to look back, but it would change our whole
Plan.
because now we're using some of it, what is in the SIP, to do some other things.
Go on.
So has there been any discussion at all about sharing services instead of buying a new truck for some of the communities around us?
Heresy.
You can ask Chief Rutherford, I mean, when he's here. I mean, we have obligations to back up, and other towns have obligations to back us up. And and, you know, it affects our insurance rates, you know, the level of the fire protection that we
It's,
have.
your personal insurance
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
go up
the towns,
drastically
the
because
residents.
Is that because of distance though?
Yes.
No, it is because the truck, you have to have an engine. And if you don't have it, your insurance rates will go up. If this truck fails, your insurance, everyone's insurance rates will be impacted by this because you're not meeting the requirement of fire service.
So you're
It also
not
is
having an
about
engine in
being,
your town
I'm sorry?
increases the insurance?
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah, I worked in
yes.
insurance.
It'll be
lines
personal
insurance,
and
oh, yeah.
town.
But I think what you're talking about, and I think there's advantage to it, but again, as Vern whispered under his breath, it's heresy in New England, is to have a regionalized fire service, and I'll even say it, a sheriff's department to cover all the small
You
towns
smell
and so
sulfur?
forth.
Isn't that what
But
Kittery
that's,
and Elliott are
you know,
doing though?
Well,
No.
Kittery and Elliott did share a chief of police, and they've since gone back on that.
All right.
If
So I
they
think
don't
they
have
have
fire.
their own individual chiefs. But, you know, I personally think it's an idea that time has come and
I
it
would-
should be explored. But
Absolutely, I would love
getting
to
that
see.
done, I mean, it
Yeah.
makes huge sense from a law enforcement perspective. It makes a lot of sense in
Yeah.
certain things, but I don't know that everybody's ready for it around here.
I mean,
I just don't.
looking at the economies of the town, you know, we just don't have the leverage because we're so small and
This
things.
is just Stratford County, am I
Yeah.
correct? I
Well,
mean,
you
you go
could-
up to Ossipee and up in that area, the sheriff's department covers
So,
a lot.
no, I think Ossipee has their own town, some of the towns do it, but it's pretty much, the model is everybody's got their own police department. We've finally gotten away from that and done combined dispatch centers, which is good, I see it, but, you know, there's, in my personal opinion, and I'm not speaking for anybody but me, but it can make great sense to have, you know, one larger agency cover many small towns, and I
County
think.
libraries, I
Yeah,
mean, you know.
libraries and all. I mean-
And the school model is definitely going that way. SAUs are starting to combine, a few places are breaking apart, but most of them are starting to
Yeah.
come together for the administrative services. They're putting
You know-
I mean, it is going to happen.
I'm a huge supporter of libraries, but I look around and there's one right over the river there, and there's another one over at Somerswood, and there's one in Dover. And we have one too, and it's, you know, they're wonderful, but can we not leverage our services and, you know, I think, what do we have, $71,000 we
scale.
pay economy of
Right.
scale? And it's like
It's-
$70 per person, I think is what it works out to that we pay for library services. Can we do something, you know, I don't know, but these are all the questions.
You know, but what you're saying, these are vestiges of colonial, of local control.
Absolutely.
You go to other states and
control.
counties are
Yeah.
much more powerful than here.
Right.
They manage more resource, more services.
Yeah.
You know, it is difficult for
Right.
this teeny little town to manage all of the things that we have to manage.
Dennis is about to blow a gasket, so
So
we're
I
gonna let
had
him
one
talk.
the other day at Lincoln Post Office say that she's so sad we don't have story time in Rollinsford
We
anymore.
do,
She's taking her kids to South Berwick.
we do have story.
No, we don't, it's gone.
No, it
What?
isn't, it's that.
The library doesn't do story time?
I says, okay.
Well, people could
We'll
band
talk
together
about it
and
at the
do their
budget
own little
meeting.
story time, you know?
But I honestly think fire service might
No.
get there before law enforcement, because traditionally, they share resources much better than the
Yeah,
cops do.
that's true.
They do, because they have all the, you know, the.
Well, they already do share services
Right.
technically, because Rollinsford will never have a
Right.
ladder truck anymore, because you got
Right.
one in South Berwick and Dover and Somersworth. They're gonna cover us on a mutual aid, they have the mutual aid agreements, that's kind of the same thing, so, but to have it go where, I don't know if that will ever go, but,
I agree, and it's,
Yeah.
I think it's somewhat unfortunate,
Yeah.
because,
I think it's a
you know.
conversation to have with legislators, and,
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah.
there's little we could do on our own to make something like this happen.
and it won't happen
I
overnight
think-
And
either.
it won't
And
happen
I
overnight.
we've gone a little far beyond what a
Yeah.
budget
Should I get back
means.
to the fire truck one more minute?
Okay, all right.
Is this fire truck off the road now?
No,
Oh,
No,
it is.
no, but it
That's the
could,
fire truck we put $60,000.
No.
correct. Yeah, it
No,
is.
oh, no, yes,
It
yes,
is,
yes.
It is.
And
But
it was
it's-
just more of a rust type thing, just.
the problem is that
Most
the
of them.
manufacturer doesn't supply the parts to repair it. And so there's been a makeshift part, I believe it's a valve, I forget that was
Oh, so
something about
they-
valve.
Mission.
It's a makeshift
Something.
part to have it
Simulated.
work,
It's a
but when it's gone or a duct breaks, that's it,
That's
the truck
it.
is out of service.
Does this have any residual value, this truck?
Well, we've sold, we had
Yeah.
stuff in the old town shed, what's one of the things that we've cleaned out, so we've sold them, and we did make a little bit of money, not a lot, on an old fire truck that was there, an old utility truck that was pretty junky. You know, so the fire truck would have some residual,
Very
But the
well.
fire chief,
but don't look to,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
fire chief's
It ain't gonna-
intention is
it's
to keep
not
it
an
until it
antique.
dies.
Yeah, but you know what, someone makes.
That's what he
it.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that it could go tomorrow.
It could go tomorrow or it could go
Aftermarket
in a year
parts,
from now,
yeah.
but it would become a second run piece instead of a primary run piece.
Yeah, right.
So until it dies, they would,
Yeah,
Although
but
they
that
want
would
me
be
to
we can sell.
remodel,
yeah.
How old is the truck?
Oh,
89?
that sounds about right.
They may just
It
like.
would be on the SIF, you'll see it when
Yeah.
we see the SIF.
Okay, is there any other matters which may come before the, so as long as it's not heresy and discussing
Heresy.
funerals, empires? Yes,
I got a couple of samples from a neighboring town about something that their budget committee and their select board put out during budget season and voting season. And I thought it was really useful, and I can pass it around, we can make copies if you want.
this is not joke tale. Feels like it.
But it is sent out by the town and it describes the warrant articles in a neutral way, so everybody is informed. And I would recommend that we have money in our budget committee communications line item this year, that we consider doing something like this year.
I think it's a great idea. There's not, could you know, when you go into vote, I'm sorry, some of that stuff I look at and go, what? And I'm on the budget, not necessarily the budget committee stuff, but like the planning board and like, what are they talking about?
I think it's a great idea, and I think the
You
school,
have to be
the school-
careful
the
to
school
walk a
would,
thin line though when you explain something
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
They're not advocating in one direction or another.
Exactly.
Right, it's just an explanation, and I think,
Yeah.
and.
But it should be reviewed by
Just
more than
the
one person
facts.
who's doing
Agreed.
it, just make sure it's factual and not opinionated.
I agree.
But I think that would be a wonderful idea because the whole crux of the thing is everyone's saying that people don't know what's going on, so they don't know how to vote.
I mean, could you have opinions underneath, a pro and a con?
No.
No.
No, okay.
If you're doing
Never mind.
factual stuff, the problem is if
Well,
people
not
don't attend the
spend
meetings,
government
that's
money.
the biggest
You can't spend
problem.
government money to do that.
It's gotta be neutral.
Yeah.
Oh, it's,
Well, it should be.
Just a fact sheet telling what the article's going for.
It would be nice to include tax impact on those as well.
Can we move on to like an adjournment?
yeah.
So,
Adjourn, yeah,
well,
adjourn.
before we do, so I can make copies if people want to actually see these, and I can scan them, whatever, and you can actually read them. I only had one copy, so.
I was
So
wearing
you
some, you get
asking,
those?
are you asking the budget committee
that's
if
their
we should do that?
No, I think she just wants to give us more information, more time to look at it, right?
Well,
They- and
I
then
think
more.
it needs to
They go to-
originate from somewhere. We have money in our budget committee
And
communications, but I think we should work with the select board to
Easily.
come up with something like this.
I have a question about just a procedural matter, and that is, some of you have printers at home, like me, and some of you do not. Some of you have computers that quickly turn email attachments into printed copy, and some do not. If anybody would like to have their output, this stuff, produced in hard copy in advance, I need to know. Because then we're going to go to the town's photocopier and make copies for those folks. All right? And you can tell me now, or you can send me an email.
I need a hard copy.
You know, you can get a really nice laser printer for $89.
It's got a laser printer, I want a hard copy. My laser printer, I'm not gonna be printing, and I have to spend $40 for ink cartridges. I'm not going to do it.
I can get it for you wholesale.
No, you can give me the hard copy.
She wants the ink every month.
Where do you get it for 40?
Electronic for me, or
Oh, my HP like
I'm electronic.
sucks.
I
I'm
don't.
just wondering, because people show up and they go, I
Every day it
didn't know
tells me
what
new
this
things,
was yet.
I'm like,
You want
yeah.
it?
I do, but I got confused because some of the emails said it would be provided. I think you might have said you had copies, somebody did, but yes, I would like a
Yes,
hard
we
copy.
did provide copies, but only here, so I think what.
I tried to print it, Vern, but I don't always,
I don't need it
so-
ahead of time.
I don't need it
Because I
ahead of
can read
time.
it off my computer if you
Oh,
send it by
okay.
email.
We did
I just
print
need a
off
hard copy when I come here tonight.
That's
Right.
that.
Well, if it's just here at the meeting and
But
you're
you don't
willing
wanna
to
make,
wait.
but you don't make
Yes,
12
me too.
copies, you wanna know
Me
who
too.
wants a hard
Yeah.
copy,
I
yes.
can read it online, I
Yeah.
just like to have the paper
Right.
in front of me.
So we brought 8, is that still too many?
I don't know, I want a hard copy, that's it.
I want a
didn't,
hard
I
copy
printed my
because I
own.
usually
I
forget.
printed my own.
I think probably just the three of us don't need them. So,
I don't need one.
okay, so
But I
then
do.
we're down to
1,
8.
2, 3, 4, who else doesn't really need hard copy at a
Do
meeting?
not.
Could you bring
You want, who does not?
5,
Does not.
6?
Does not.
1, 2, 3, 4,
I don't.
5,
I don't think Alan
6,
does. I'm voting for Alan, I
7.
don't think he does.
Okay, 7 people don't need hard copy at the meeting. So
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 if
you
you
need
make 5.
5.
make 6 just in
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
I'll bring my
Let's save a few more
That's,
trees.
Yeah.
Computer, and if it's boring, you can play games or something.
All right.
Check the baseball scores if it's baseball season.
no, because that ruins
Could
the
I
whole
just say
fun of the
something?
thing.
Yes.
I'd like
Watching
to
it later.
apologize to our secretary over here for not using our names or, you know, are you
That
all
we
set with
didn't-
that?
We should
I
have little
didn't use
name
my
tags.
I know all I
No,
know.
he,
Oh,
yeah,
we did once.
He'll figure this out.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's a good idea. It's good. Would you like us to have little name things?
Maybe we could.
I know that, but no, you.
Maybe
You
we
want the
could put
DVD movie?
That's actually a
We can
good
provide
idea.
that too.
Just kind of
Suzanne could
paper,
make us up big
cardboard or
name
something.
it would
tags
be
like
good to
that.
have
Yeah.
something so that he would know if we would remember to say who we are
You just
before.
hold your tag up.
Yeah. Name tags.
They'll get used to the one time.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Vielle. Those in favor, stand up and move out.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Suzanne, did you